So just for some final points, I thought I'd close out with standpoint theories, and so basically the link between power and epistemology, and so how do we come to know and believe what we believe? I think a lot of it comes from power. So if we were to look at Rosanny or Tanya, well, specifically Rosanny, she spoke about how basically her coaches define on the people she's surrounded with. Well, then how is she surrounded with the people she's surrounded with? In terms of being a minority and in the separation between power and well, high class and low class. In low class, she's gonna be surrounded with a lot of minorities, and therefore she's gonna most likely, because of that separation of power, she's gonna be considered a minority. She's gonna enjoy what the minorities enjoy doing, and that for that reason is gonna define herself in that way. So that kind of keeps like the power ahead. So those who are in the majority, who have power, who have authority, who have money, who have say on things, can then define, the minority culture without them even realizing. So I feel like that's a key point. Now, maybe had she grown up, maybe if she was adopted, growing up in a family that was high class, had a lot of money, her definition of culture would be very different. It would be, maybe being more free, a culture who loves basketball, who loves, other things, and this might be essentialism, but in the ideas of minority. But maybe she'd love politics, or like if she doesn't love it already, I don't know. But I guess that's essentialism stereotype already. But that's the kind of idea where I probably try to get at. So I feel like a lot of what we know is because of what we have been told, and a lot of times minorities are the people who have been told these things. But in terms of that, separately, I'm a Christian, so a lot of knowledge in what people say I am is kind of irrelevant. So I say I am. I define myself based on what Christ says I am. I define myself based on how well I'm, serving my Lord and trying to be more like Him. That's what I define myself as. So that's a totally different aspect. Just being Christian is a totally different identity, totally different idea of culture. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's the only one that would matter. But to kind of go back to, if you weren't considering Christian, so how do we validate knowledge? A lot of it, I feel like that's very knowledge and social location, whether it be middle class, low class, and basically how do we validate all this knowledge is it's really subjective. But at the end of the day, I really think it just goes back to relating to power. Because those in the minority culture can kind of define themselves and give themselves whatever knowledge and they may want to know. Like I feel like in terms of another culture, language, language and terminology may use and may be very creative and very innovative and very awesome, but why is it that language, I guess slang, right, is not incorporated in the classroom? Why is it not, why is it not used instead of, I guess the proper grammar? And I guess it goes back to history, how things were formed, how grammar was originally formed, alphabet. So based on those things, I think it's based really honestly because of lack of resources and being a minority, and because of separation of power, we were kind of forced to kind of create our own language. We were kind of forced to kind of create our own creativity and have fun and be more creative and innovative and all energetic. So that's kind of separated us and created our own culture, which again I think relates to power. And what are the implications of this process for the way that we live our lives? I guess it's kind of like the way we live our lives is, I guess, how we define ourselves, how we define our culture, and that would be, it's subjective for everybody. So everybody defines themselves differently. Everybody conceptualizes themselves differently. Those who may go to college, I feel, or may broaden their ideas and see, have more of an open vision of what culture, and I think college actually changed the perceptions of individuals. I believe Rosanny, by the time she graduates, her definition of culture, just simply being from who she's surrounded with, because she's from Brooklyn and Brownsville, that's not going to be the only thing that defines her culture. Her culture may be defined as somebody who enjoys doing maybe something else, So I feel like that's a key thing, and just overall culture in general is a very subjective. Culture could be anything. It could be how you define yourself, what gives you the meaning of being who you are, and then So I feel like that's like the biggest takeaway. And then just now there's just like no rules, just in general. So I feel like the biggest thing for me and for coaching in general is to really stand firm in what you believe. And in my vision is being Christian. So no matter what identity, I may be Latino, I may be a part of NYU and part of certain culture, but no matter what, my coach is in Christ. Who I am in Christ. So that would be the biggest takeaway for me. And just thank you for an awesome and great year.